Win the war within or lose everything. There is a battle happening inside you right now. It is not loud. It does not announce itself with drums or fire. No one sees it. No one applauds when you win. But make no mistake, this is the war that decides everything. Empires have fallen because men lost this war. Fortunes have been built because someone chose to win it. History does not remember the noise, it remembers the conquerors of self. The war within is not about money. It is not about status. It is not about the world. It is about control. Control of your thoughts. Control of your focus. Control of your belief. Because the mind is not neutral territory. If you do not command it, it will command you. And if it commands you, you will drift. Drift into comfort. Drift into excuse. Drift into average. And average is the quietest form of defeat. Look at the giants of history. When Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times, the world saw failure. But inside his mind, there was no defeat, only decision. When Henry Ford was told the engine was impossible, the experts laughed. But Ford had already won the war within. The outside world had no choice but to catch up. When Walt Disney was fired for lacking imagination, when he was bankrupt, when his first studio collapsed, the war could have ended there. But it didn't. Because the battlefield was not financial. It was mental. And he refused to surrender. You see, before wealth appears in the hand, it must be secured in the mind. Before power is visible in the world, it must be established in thought. Every external victory is first an internal conquest. And that is where you stand today. There are two voices inside you. One whispers comfort. The other demands growth. One says, rest, you've done enough. The other says, you are capable of more. One says, play it safe. The other says, burn the ships. This is not weakness, this is humanity. But understand this clearly. The voice you feed becomes the commander. If you feed doubt, doubt becomes your general. If you feed faith, faith becomes your weapon. Napoleon Hill taught that thoughts are things, but most people treat them like toys. Thoughts are not toys. They are blueprints. Every fortune begins as a thought held with belief. Every downfall begins as a thought tolerated in weakness. The war within is decided by what you allow to live in your mind. Clarity is your first weapon. Most people lose because they never define what they are fighting for. They want success, but what does that mean? They want wealth, but for what purpose? They want freedom, but from what? An undefined desire produces undefined results. But when a person becomes definite, when they draw a line in the sand and say, this is who I will become, something shifts. Energy aligns. Decisions sharpen. Discipline strengthens. The world begins to respond differently. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Abraham Lincoln lost elections. He faced humiliation. He battled depression so heavy it could have buried him. But his purpose was bigger than his pain. And when purpose becomes larger than fear, fear loses authority. Clarity is power. When you know who you are becoming, distraction becomes irrelevant. Belief is the second weapon. Not empty optimism. Not wishful thinking. Belief rooted in repetition, visualization, and decision. You must see it before you touch it. You must feel it before it exists. The subconscious mind does not know the difference between what is vividly imagined and what is physically real. Feed it victory. Feed it strength. Feed it certainty. or it will feed you limitation. Most people pray for opportunity while visualizing failure. They say they want abundance while rehearsing scarcity in their thoughts. That contradiction destroys power. The war within demands alignment. Thought, emotion, action, aligned. When those three move as one, the world cannot resist you. But let us speak about discipline. Because belief without discipline is hallucination. The war within is won in the morning. Before the world speaks to you. Before notifications invade your focus. Before comparison poisons your confidence. Win the morning and you shift the momentum of the day. Discipline is not punishment. It is self-respect in action. It is telling your weaker self, you do not decide today. When you rise early, when you train your body, when you study your craft, when you move forward despite emotion, you are stacking victories no one sees. Invisible victories build visible empires. And this is where most surrender. Not in catastrophe, but in convenience. They negotiate with their goals. They delay. They rationalize. They say tomorrow. But tomorrow is the favorite word of the defeated. The war within is won now. In this decision, in this moment, resilience is forged in resistance. Do not curse difficulty. Difficulty reveals allegiance. When pressure comes, you discover which voice is stronger. The one that quits or the one that commands. Andrew Carnegie rose from poverty to steel empire not because life was easy, but because his inner standard was unbreakable. Pressure does not destroy the strong. It exposes them. When the world tests you, it is asking one question. Who is in control? If your mood controls you, you lose. If your circumstances control you, you lose. If other people's opinions control you, you lose. But if your vision controls you, you win. Understand this deeply. The war within is not won once. It is won daily. Every morning, you must choose belief. Every afternoon, you must choose discipline. Every night, you must choose reflection over regret. Self-mastery is not dramatic. It is deliberate. And over time, deliberate action compounds. Just as interest compounds in wealth, discipline compounds in identity. One day you wake up, and you are no longer the person who doubted. You are the person who decides. You are the person who executes. You are the person who finishes. And the world treats you accordingly. Because the world mirrors conviction. There will be moments when you feel alone in this battle. When results are slow. When effort feels invisible. When temptation whispers loudly. Remember this. Every great figure you admire stood exactly where you stand. Uncertain but determined. Tested but unbroken. Afraid but unwilling to retreat. The difference between those remembered and those forgotten is simple. They refused to surrender internally. Before the applause, before the wealth, before the recognition. They had already won the war within. And once that war is won, external defeat becomes temporary. Because a person who controls their mind cannot be conquered. So stand guard at the gates of your thoughts. Reject weakness. Reject drift. Reject the lie that you are ordinary. You are not here to exist. You are here to build, to expand, to command your potential into reality. The war within is not your enemy. It is your proving ground. And today you decide who rules. Will it be fear? Will it be comfort? Or will it be the disciplined, relentless, purpose-driven version of you that history is waiting for? Win the war within, and the world becomes your territory. Lose it, and nothing outside you will ever be enough. The battle is quiet, but the outcome is loud. Choose wisely, then move, and do not look back.